Have you ever noticed that when it's time for the seasons in your life to change, like maybe it's time to leave a relationship or try something new or start a new job, your mind can be made up, like you know it's time to move forward, but yet your heart still clings to what's familiar? That gap between knowing something and feeling something is where emotional intelligence really matters. It's not that you're weak, it's that your emotions need time to catch up with the growth that's often happening in your subconscious mind. Here are three things that I tell my students and my clients whenever we are all experiencing this. The first thing I tell people to do is to honor the lag. Okay, I find it very interesting that when we hop on an airplane and we go somewhere that causes us to change time zones, we get off a plane and we feel tired, or we notice it when it's time to go to sleep. I struggle with this. I live on the East Coast of the United States. I have a really hard time adjusting when I go west and come right back. So, as much as I love those trips to Vegas, LA, Seattle, it takes me a while to adjust. I think it's very fascinating that we give ourselves grace. We understand that we are used to it being 8 o'clock in the morning at home, but it's 5 o'clock here. I feel like I should be awake, but everybody else is still sleeping around me, or vice versa, right? I'm ready to go to bed, but the clock says it's 6:30, 7. The same thing happens when our hearts and with our minds, your emotions are processing the loss of a story that once felt safe. If you don't believe me, ask someone who is going through a divorce, and they will tell you that you can be out of a relationship long before you are over a relationship. I've experienced divorce, I know this firsthand. I'll also tell you that if you don't believe me, go and talk to a mother who has recently experienced the loss of a pregnancy or a child. I've worked very closely with these women in women's health services and healthcare over the years, and that is a devastating loss. And it is interesting to watch people grieve when their minds understand what has happened, and in some cases, are ready to move on and try for a new baby mentally, like they think it's time, but emotionally, their heart just has not yet recovered from what has happened. Honoring that lag and giving yourself the grace to rest, to catch up. And when I say rest, I don't mean laying your head on your pillow. I mean psychologically, just taking a moment makes a world of difference. The second thing you need to do, and this is a real challenge, it's a little bit lighter than the first, but this is where people find real difficulty, all right? Because you got to be honest with yourself. Name the attachment and separate it from your goal. For example, when you think sometimes you really like a relationship that you're in, you don't like that relationship. You like the version of yourself that appears because of that relationship. Like maybe the relationship is toxic, but it keeps your mother from asking you, when are you ever going to get married? I see this a lot with people in their careers. They don't actually like being the doctor or the lawyer or the chief of operations or whatever the thing is. What they like is the money that it brings them, the power that it commands, right? What they like is how they feel successful in the eyes of other people, whoever those people are. When you can distinguish your attachment from your actual goal, you can name that truth and you can let go of it a lot more easily. And finally, the third thing I tell people when we're talking about this and they're struggling with the difference between the heart and the mind is to let curiosity lead you forward. Because here's a fun fact: people often fall in love with the versions of themselves that they see in any particular situation that lives in their mind. When you ask yourself, who you are becoming and who you have the potential to become. Often it's someone, someplace, something you wanted to attain, some version of yourself that you've wanted to be all along. But change is the one thing that will allow you to step into it, right? And so when you're struggling to leave behind what your mind knows that it's time to, this is one really good way to kind of urge your heart along and make the beautiful change less painful. If any of this resonates with you, it might be time for a consultation if you want to come and talk with me further about the issues that you're experiencing and the differences between heart and mind. This is what we do at Violet Vision. We bridge the gap between emotional intelligence and how well we live. In fact, my goal with Violet Vision is to help not just healthcare professionals, but everybody to thrive and live well. Come see me at www.thevioletvision.com or head straight on over to learn.thevioletvision.com if you'd like to explore courses like, for example, what to do when you've outgrown them is a wildly popular course that I have that touches on a lot of these types of subjects. Whatever you do, thank you for joining me today. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and bell, and I hope to see you soon. Bye bye.